Hi, it's Uncle Larry. These days, we appear to have gone from being safety conscious to safety obsessed. Or am I wrong about that? In primarily social and academic settings, this new safety culture of ours even has designated environments, safe spaces, for people from marginalized or vulnerable communities where individuals can feel protected from discrimination, harassment, and harm. The objective, it is claimed, is to allow for open expression, support, and dialogue inside these protected enclaves. So I thought it would be a good idea to unpack this concept of safety culture and the accompanying safe spaces concept to see just where it ends up. The argument for safety culture rests on the notion of creating inclusive and supportive environments. Safety culture prioritizes the well-being and psychological safety of individuals who feel disenfranchised or excluded from the dominant culture. By implementing measures such as safe spaces, even speech codes, social and academic institutions can ensure that all members feel respected and valued. Proponents say safety culture does not necessarily equate to censorship or the suppression of freedom of expression. Rather, it seeks to foster a more inclusive and equitable society. In addition, safety culture recognizes that exposure to certain ideas or experiences can be deeply traumatic for some people, and by creating environments where individuals feel safe and supported, institutions can help mitigate the harmful effects of trauma and promote healing and well-being. Sounds reasonable enough. But let's compare it to some concerns some have raised about the unintended consequences of such an approach. One of the main arguments against safety culture and the proliferation of safe spaces is that they stifle intellectual growth and debate. By shielding individuals from uncomfortable or challenging ideas, these environments discourage the kind of rigorous intellectual exchange that is essential for problem solving. Instead of engaging with opposing viewpoints, which allow individuals to refine their own arguments, some may retreat into their safe spaces, their echo chambers, if you will, where their beliefs go unchallenged. Even worse, a culture that prioritizes safety above all else risks fostering a mindset of fragility and dependency. When individuals are constantly shielded from adversity or discomfort, they may become ill-equipped to handle real-world challenges. It's a nasty world out there. Like muscles that atrophy from lack of use, the ability to navigate difficult situations and confront opposing viewpoints may weaken over time. The philosopher Kenneth Minogue said, quote, "He who wrestles with us makes us stronger. Our antagonist is our helper," unquote. Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt says engaging with an ideological opponent is like exercise. Resistance builds muscle, intellectual muscle, and strengthens your foundational bones. Benjamin Franklin is believed to have said, "He who desires safety over liberty deserves neither." In their own ways, they argue that confronting opposing viewpoints fosters critical thinking and resilience. They argue that sacrificing freedoms for the sake of security ultimately leads to a weakened, flabby society. Here's another aspect that might not have occurred to you. History has shown that authoritarian regimes and dictatorships often justify their actions in the name of ensuring the safety and security of their citizens. However, these regimes invariably erode individual freedoms and consolidate power, leading to oppression and tyranny, which ultimately undermines the very values you were seeking to protect in the first place. Let's focus in on Jonathan Haidt's observations after decades of research into the origins of our current obsession with safety. I find it pretty compelling. As far as he can ascertain, much of this got started back in the 90s with something called helicopter parenting, where a generation of parents became overprotective of their children. Haidt argues that helicopter parenting, characterized by overprotective and controlling behavior, hinders the development of resilience in children. By shielding them from failure and discomfort, parents inadvertently deprive their children of the opportunity to learn important coping skills and develop emotional resilience. Now, when I was young, there was little of this kind of behavior. You got up, went to school, navigated that, and played in the neighborhood until supper time or when the streetlights came on, whichever came first. And I know I can just be dismissed as an old man reminiscing about the past. Nothing I can do about that. But what I'm saying is true. Haidt suggests that allowing children to experience setbacks and navigate challenges on their own is essential for building resilience and fostering psychological well-being. How ironic that in the 90s, when this helicopter parenting was taking off, crime statistics in North America, including Canada, were at historic lows. Now, Haidt says by the time these protected children reached college age, they were far more fragile than their predecessors. The prevalence of safe spaces on college campuses in the 2000s and beyond is a direct descendant of the 1990s helicopter parenting. Today, you have designated areas intended to provide students with a refuge from ideas and perspectives that may cause discomfort or offense. However, Haidt contends that safe spaces contribute to a culture of fragility and intellectual conformity, where students are shielded from opposing viewpoints and insulated from the realities of the world. Instead of preparing students to engage with diverse perspectives, navigate complex social issues, and survive a sometimes brutal world, safe spaces reinforce a mentality of victimhood and entitlement. Rather than seeking safety and protection at all costs, authentic growth and maturity comes from grappling with discomfort and uncertainty. In environments where safety is paramount, there's often a tendency to censor or suppress ideas that are deemed offensive or controversial. This censorship can take various forms, including the imposition of speech codes, the deplatforming of speakers with unpopular views, and the creation of safe spaces where certain topics are just simply off limits. While these measures may be well-intentioned, they ultimately undermine the principles of free speech and academic freedom and create an unhealthy society by extension. By allowing for the free exchange of ideas, even those that may be uncomfortable or offensive, societies can challenge prevailing norms, stimulate critical thinking, and advance knowledge. Censorship, on the other hand, stifles dissent and inhibits the pursuit of truth, leading to intellectual stagnation and conformity. Now to conclude, while the importance of intellectual openness and freedom of expression cannot be overstated, it is equally crucial to acknowledge the importance of inclusive and supportive environments where everyone gets a shot. Everyone deserves to feel respected and valued no matter what their race, gender, disability, status, or origin. We've got a lot of work to do on that front, folks. But look around you. Segregating ourselves from one another into safe spaces is just not working.